Does anybody know why we're here? Does anybody want to know why we're here? What is the purpose? How we are in our positions to our settings if we don't understand how to use ourselves through the game levels that we are in. Now, in lines comes in lines out, and you realize it's communication, not just me dealing with me. Everything you come into is me, myself, and I. So it doesn't matter how you come in that sequence. It's like you're trying to identify yourself, but you can't identify yourself because you can't identify how to use your mind. Your mind is a collaboration system that's already in setting. So there's really nothing to do, guys. So it's kind of like understanding the body itself is the mechanism of its map. The whole body itself from head to toe is its map. So it's you understanding the map of you to reach the levels of the map of you, right? And you have to understand how to use that in all lines in its primer. How you use that in position to its electrical system puts everything in track location, your balance. Finding the metrics and scales and the balance of your interactions. That modifies your system and how you come into your hearing. Okay? So in that attractions, this helps you to guide everything around you. This basically gets you how to modify your system on lines of travel. This gets you high direct signals, how you come in your attractions. How do I get that symbolism? How do I get to understand these things? It's basically understand the characters and the players that you bring inside the game. That you are, not the game you're in. So once you understand that, there's no in, there's no out, there's no audio. It's just you dealing with you. But how you see yourself in is how you see yourself as out, and how you see yourself as audio. You've got to come into lines of communications, processing communications, how to come into your transistors and resistors. Understanding how to use that through the algorithms, the binaries, the transistors, and how to use that in lines of communications of volume. Get into that position lines of attractions. Get to truly understand how to use that in information lines of grounds that you are. The mind is already grounded. It's in its powers, it's in its atmospheres, it's in its highways. It's already been through its equation. So what you have to understand is the quantum self of you. It's you dealing with you. So everything you get in a situation of, it's you dealing with you, understanding you, modifications of you, calculations of you, electronic system locations of you, operation cycles of you, track high center line communications of you, right? So it's you dealing with you, nobody else. Now, anybody that you come across, you're seeing them and how you want to see them. You want to see them through perception. You want to see them through light. You want to see them through dark. But if you're not understanding light and dark, then you're seeing them how you're not seeing them. You're seeing through a fantasy. You're seeing how you want to see them, but that's not them, right? So it gets a lot of confusion if you don't understand how to use yourself as transmitters of receivers. You're transmitting and receiving, transmitting out, receiving in. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay. Transmitting out, receiving in. I say, well, sir, that doesn't make any sense. I thought we're inside our system trying to understand our outside. No, not when you're in position of outer space. Outer space becomes the inner space. Inner space becomes the outer space. And the inner space and the outer space is no space. Now, once you get into that position, it's much easier to understand yourself, but you understand how you get in that track lines, the inner spectrum, the outer spectrum, audio spectrum, right? In, out, and audio. Okay, input, output, out circuit, in circuit. How you see yourself through your outlets is very important to your body of modification. Coming into that correlations, right? What is correlation? What does that mean? What does that mean to me? Because it has nothing to do with anybody else, right? What is a mechanism over power? It has nothing to do with anybody else. It only has to do with me. So I'm processing me, right? So it's about understanding this interactions, all right? So once you understand that your body is just a map that's trying to come to you, this is you coming back to you. The balance, the awareness, the conscious, the knowledge that you already have access to. So if you get in position, this is where it gets interesting, all right? Now, let's start with this interactions. All right, collaboration, partnership with the digital pad. It's in its conscious, its own awareness, right? But now I'm addressing it, and it's addressing me. Soon as I take the collaboration in my hand and place it on the digital pad of the platform, that's the partnership. Right? Everything I'm doing is a partnership in setting, understanding the consciousness of everything around you. Okay? Because it has its energy, it has its vibration, it has its frequencies, and it has its harmonics, and it knows what governs its system. to help you to understand how to use a digital pad. So it doesn't need a reason to be here. Okay? Because it's always been here, but it comes in a certain time. And understanding that through vision is all levels of you, how to understand and see yourself through body, that you are through frequencies. Okay? All right, so let's get into correlations, attractions. All right? All right, the direct signals. Okay, so we'll start with this. Okay? This is your lifespan. That's the rope, right? All right, so it's 6 feet of rope. 6 feet. 6 feet is pretty good, right? 6 feet, right? Now, what you have to understand from here to here, okay, this location is 40, line position of 50, lines of 60, line location of 70, and now I'm 80 years old. Okay, I'm 80 years old, right? And that's 6 feet of rope, right? But what you have to understand, the extension, so the actual rope itself, once you come into expanding of the mind, its set position lines, highest interference, is now 6,000 feet long. Not 6 feet, 6,000 feet. So now you're understanding from here to here, which is already there, pi. Okay? But you're focusing on this, which you should be just focusing here because you're already there in attraction. Right? So once you understand this, all levels in the center of you, once you reach the center, everything comes to you through attraction. Everything comes to you through attractions. That's all it is, nothing else. Okay? So it's important to understand that rope itself, okay, is the expanding of where you are in your minds, understanding the characters and the players that you are inside the game, understanding the instructions of a game. If you don't understand the instructions of a game, how are you going to understand the instructions of you? Because that's what you're portraying. You're portraying yourself. And that's all it is. It's you fighting yourself. I'm trying to understand you. Me, myself, and I. So I get up in the morning, I'm dealing with me. I go to bed, I'm dealing with I. Okay, when I'm walking out south and line direct signals, I'm working with the line position on myself. Me, myself, and I. And that's what you focus on. You don't focus on anything else. Because as soon as you don't focus on me, myself, okay, and I, me, myself, and I. Okay, me, myself, and I. And that's how you focus on. You don't focus on anything else. As soon as you take your I off the ball, what does it do in attractions? You're here in signal, all right? Now, this is the 6 feet of rope, right? So you're here, oh, I'm doing well, right? More levels of mind expansion. Oh, I got to go back because I lost tractions, right? Then you got to go back to the beginning, right? Now you go from here and then you go time stamping. Oh, I'm in the center now. Doing pretty good. Coming into levels of expanding, right? And then, oh, okay, I'm done. Oh, I'm almost there. Oh, no. Back here in traction. Because that's all you're doing. That's all you're doing, right? So it's conflicting you, which is not understanding you of you, which is not modifying your system through you, me, myself, and I, because that's all you're dealing with. So the central system is you connected to you. The resource is you, is the researching of you. Okay, understand that core lines of calculation setting to its resurface of your instructions. How to see yourself of the body of summation of a map, right? Okay, let's get into this cycle, right? Pearly map, right? Okay, there, X marks the spot, right? So you're here, geological system, right? This is your mind, X marks the spot, right? So it doesn't come to you until you understand you. You build a partnership in relations, understand your geometric operation and design, and that lines of track calculation sitting, me, myself, and I keeps going forward, then you're there in attraction, right? Then you go into the center operation. Once you get in the center, you get into your platforms. Once you get in that, you get in your grounds, you get in your modification system. Get into all levels, your metric, your scales, and your balance. Once you get in your balance, then you get in positions of your highways and track locations. Yes. Once you get into that, then you expand through your platforms and tractions. Yes. Once you get into that, high lines is communication setting. Then you come into levels of mind expanding in your space and time. And that's all it is in tractions, guys. Nothing else. You're expanding your mind through your highways. Okay? But you have to stand provision first. Right? So me, myself, and I is everything that I come in positions of. I don't deal with anything else. Nothing is perceived. Nothing's in a condition system. Nothing's in consciousness. So it's not about understanding the instructions of the game that you are. It's about understanding the instructions in games that you're not. Because it's not a game. Your life is not a game. But you have to understand the instructions first of you, how to use the hardware, how to use the software. So you get a better understanding how to use it in its setting, how to understand how to use it through the electrical system, the central system, and the mainframe system. Everything correlates in high positions, puts you modified through the grounds communication system of the mind system that you are in. Okay? You're in and out in audio. How you see in, how you see out, and how you see audio. Okay? Audio in, out. You changed it, right? Then you get to the modification of center. Changed it again. Platforms of communication. Changed it again. So you're expanding your system and travel. That's all you're doing. You're not doing anything else. So when you get activated, this is what happens in attractions. So that's position here. You're here. It's really interesting too when you get in that sentence. That's you in that position, right? Grounds, powers, then you energize your system. So that's position locations, all levels. You're teleported, right? Fixed line, screen line, adaptation 144, pi sectors of our screen, right? Then you come back down, right? Now in that position, you're in the center. Okay? That's what happens through activations. Then you come into your platforms, right? Okay? These are your platforms that you go through. Okay? You come into expanding, not through evolutions, just evoluting, travel, right? Then you come into bigger platforms. Then you come into bigger and bigger platforms. Okay? So that's what happens through activation. Okay? Here to here, right? And then you just expand in the mind, right? So when you come into that position locations, you don't have to worry about this interactions. That's all levels of you because you don't understand yourself, me, and I. Because that's what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with anything else. So when you start seeing things through perception, how do you perceive it through consciousness? You have to stop seeing people of who they're not and start seeing people who they are of the intel. That's where you come into levels, out of confusion, out of separation, out of distress, or anything in miscalculation. Getting in that communication system processes all levels of you how to see yourself in attractions. Because that's what your body is, center operation. And everything comes to you through attraction. Everything comes to you in time. Everything comes to you in time. Okay? Tracking this. Characters and players of the game that you are in. Okay? So once you get into that position, you understand not just the instructions of the game, how to play the game. Then you have to really understand how to understand the levels of the game, is to go past the levels of the game, right? And then you realize you're not a film strip. Okay, your life is not based on a film strip. Your life is based on you, how you see yourself through a film strip. Got you again. I'm trying to get you guys in the psychological system, how you can use it in the relines of communication system, how you can use it in the psychosis system, the psychological system, the repsychological system, and settings. But it's in position locations to your mental capacity and your meta capacity, right? Meta is touch. Mental is capacity in the mind. Right? Emotional is everything in set position, right? How you deal with your sun and how you deal with your moon. How you deal with your sun and how you deal with your moon. Sun and the moon together. Sun and the moon together. Sun and moon together. Sun and moon together. They're always together, right? That's the sun and the moon, right? Sun is here, moon's here. But they're together, right? They always come together. Always come together. Sun's here, moon's here, right? They always come together, okay? Sun is here, moon is here. They look like they're apart, but they're not. They're always in center of themselves. Processing yin and yang. Position lines, all lines of 8 settings in communications. Look at what the sun and the moon is doing. But where is it in position of? Where is the mind of the control? You in the center operation. You are controlling your sun. You are controlling your moon. So you're controlling the angles. So if you move your body, if you're pivoting your body, right? The sun is moving. The moon is moving, right? See? And I like to show you that because that's all it is, how you see things. But to see it from here, you got to see it from here on different dimensional layers of space. 3 dimension, 4 dimension, 5th dimension, 6th dimension, 7th dimension. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 dimensional layers of the sun and the moon. So as soon as I pivot my body, you see it on a different level. And that's all it is in attractions. Here's the sun, here's you. Right? Sun and the moon, and you. But you and the sun and moon are always together. That's the optical illusion of confusion, because everything is done from inside your system. So the more you see yourself inside, the more it gets into the mind itself. And then you really start to understand how to use that through your electrical system. Then you really understand this from this. Okay, from here, getting from here. Oh, no, look at what I did, right? So I'm here trying to get to here. Not realizing in position locations, attractions. So I set myself here. Very important to understand that settings when you come into the steps, right? So you think you're here, but you're here. You see what I mean? You're not here. You're already at the top. You've always been at the top. You've never been at the bottom. So you decide if you want to be at the bottom. But be careful of that, because that changes the frames of you attractions, all through calculations to your modification lines. Now, coming in the position location comes a coding. Now, let's start with just run. Or side location line, high centers of triangulation. That's a code. Run, system, and travel. Film strip, right? That's 2 attractions. Platform A, platform C. All right? Process lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 tractions. Right? Everything has to travel through mechanisms in set position. Now, once you understand that, then you understand the point lines of graph of clocking. Clocking system, all lines of calculation, setting 12 lines of screen. Directing in position location of graph communication setting your Schumann resonance. Wave and screen adaptations of pyramid interactions. Directing modification lines alpha, delta, and theta and track communications. Energy lights, screen lines adaptation of flux over screen. Okay? So what you have to truly understand is that you're creating Skynet and sky grids, so your plasma screen location is sent into your light web and your dark webs, right? So it's amazing how I'm constantly going boom, 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 boom. That's all it is. So you're constantly going through that rope, but you're in that position of no limit of anything of access to all levels. Looking at through that dimensional door, I see all doors and all spectrum, and I see it in all platforms and all vision. Now you put yourself in that position, location, calculation system, then you understand how to see yourself through electrical lines, screen adaptations of processing through all levels. Electrical grids, panel grids, Schumann resonance grids, everything in holographic grid screens, anything in track locations. But as soon as you change it, it changes the formula of its equation. It changes its travels of its satellite communication. There's the satellite again. Okay, guys? Shifting lines and anomaly line screen adaptation of surface. Process communication, high standard position of platforms of communication, high position operation attraction. Okay, open sequence, open panels, and line direct signals modification system to the grounds and powers. Okay, coming in track lines, communication, high position location, all levels. Asgard, indirect signals, a modification system and travel. Asgard, boom. See how fast I bring that in without thinking, because the only thing I focus on is my system. So getting into that settings, then you come into your platforms. Okay, because that's the center operation that never leaves the system, that always stays in the center of all lines of communication system. If there's nothing there, so there's nothing to perceive. You have to understand how powerful you are and where the mind is. The mind is never there, but there when needed. So when you understand that there when needed, you understand how to use your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions. So it's kind of like you're inside a game. You understand the instructions of the game, but you understand the characters and the players that you're bringing inside the game. And once you understand that, it's much easier to go to the different game levels of the game. That's leaving the inner and the outer space of you into the nothing of space, to all levels of space, guys. Okay? So you are in control. Coming in that position locations, and you start realizing, okay, the inner spectrum works, but I don't want the outer spectrum work. Okay, so if you don't want the outer spectrum work, you have to come into question. And that's all it is. right? It's no difference adding 2 lines of signals or a percentage of screen. But if you do it in this way, it's a different formula, different equation. Okay? Which is its formations of its intelligence. Okay? Intelligence. All right. Now, if I change it again, and I'm going to constantly do these things because you have to stand in 4 lines of communication. Different formula, different equation. It says position line attractions, 1 signal, process in position lines, a high center correlation system of travel. So you're constantly changing things, but you're constantly in that position, that rope that just keeps expanding. That keeps everything in change and modification. So you're constantly rotating your system, a circulation and rotation. So you're constantly in a full movement and all lines of signals, never stopping in track location. Never, ever stopping. Look at that. Never stopping. Always moving. Always, always, always moving. All right. Setting that process communication of all line signals in that line rotation to a surface. Right? It looks separated, right? But you can't see it like this. You got to see it like this in travel. Okay? You got to see it on platform. You got to see it through expanding in set position to its operation. Okay? Everything has to have a ground. Everything has to have a power. Everything has to have an atmosphere. Everything has to highway. Everything has to have a magnetic setting. Everything has to have a platform. You don't have a platform, you won't understand instructions through its consciousness given to you in position. You have to have a platform to stand on, right? But once you get into higher lines of travel, there is no platform until you perceive it through consciousness. So if I take myself out of travel, right, I'm just invisible to everyone and everything of all calculations, all track locations, but I'm still there. See, I'm just a higher formation system. So that puts all lines of communication system in travel where the intelligence cannot see me. So the intelligence cannot see me because I'm at a higher frequency. They can't see me, right? So they can't penetrate through the plasma walls or any location system, right? Because I'm not there, right? So they go off in their positions, back in tractions, back to their system, back to their planets, right? But if you get into coloration line, red signals, red alert, red alert, red alert, you turn yourself in red, they come in right away. So you're exposing your system. They go through your plasma walls, plasma core centers. They can go through energy fields and force fields because you're not understanding you through frequencies. So you no longer see yourself as me, myself, and I. You see yourself as a problem. You see yourself as a program. You don't see yourself as a programmer. So that puts off communications, right? And direct signals. So securing lines of panels are off, all communication system, your fields are off, your operation system, your computer operation line connection settings, all the location setting, right? And you have no more control of your fail safes. All right. So once you expose yourself, they penetrate through the plasma walls and tractions. They go inside. See, they go inside, right? And they basically pick you up and teleport you into them. You're inside their ship now. So you're no longer there. Right? So in that position, location, and calculation system, all this disappears. It can't stay in platform. It can't stay in frequency. It can't stay in information. It can't stay in the grounds. It can't stay in the powers because it no longer exists. It's taken away, right? So now it comes in position. You guys have to stand light and dark, and that's what I'm going to try to get you guys to understand these things, how powerful it is, how you have to start recognizing yourself when you come into that settings in that tractions. So in that line of rotation setting, everything disappears. Everything disappears. It can't be there in frequency. It cannot be there in frequency. Everything changes and goes back to zero in platform, like it wasn't there, never existed, right? So I'm just trying to get you guys to understand these things, the power that you have in set position. Okay. Now I can get in high attractions and direct signals and modifications, all through settings, processing communications, all levels of flux. All right. So it just disappears, right? Until I bring it into perceiving consciousness. So if not aware of my perceiving or what I'm bringing in through consciousness, everything around me is governing its own system and taking over me. It's taking over me. So now you're on their planet. Okay? I'll show you. That's how powerful it is. You're on their planet now, in the operation of them. right? So you are no longer you. You're an alteration system and travel to 3 track locations, right? So they go through a circuit line screen, and adaptations all calculate and modify. They take your ground line surface, they take your satellites and ground lines as set position to operation, right? They apply it as divisions, inline rotation surface, and take it to their planet in traction. Okay? So this is what happens when you don't protect your light inside. Light is extremely powerful because you're dimensional beings of light in line position. Okay? So if your satellites are taken away, what's next in travel? Then they go through the body formation screen, and that track lines this communication system, and that lines. So now you're on their planet, and they're looking at you, right? And this is what they're doing. They're taking compartments, they're taking division lines, layers, lines of track interference, right? All through set positions, scanning interactions, right? Platform here, platform here, platform here, and travel. Okay, so they're taking all that, mechanism lines of power to setting, right? Platform in communication system, all through travel, direct signals. So now you are no longer alterations of you. You're in line communication symbiote, line direct signals, and alteration system of its set calculations. So you're no longer you. So I'm trying to get you guys to understand the power of recognition system if you don't understand how to protect yourself of the game levels that you are, and how to play the instructions of the game. Understand the characters of the players of the game. How everything can be taken over through traction. Okay. All right. So getting in signals, we attitude line screen. Now that is an application system all through travel, directing lines of modification graphs, 21 surface equals lines in positional 4 settings in travel, right? 4 calculations settings and 4 line communications. That's what you do with the 4. You got to get into travel through a 4. 4 has to travel. Okay? It has to travel. It has to travel, guys. Because look what it creates. Look what it creates. A highway. Now, if I turn it this way, in that position, what is it interactions of? What is it interactions of? A teleportation, right? Face recognition, see? See the 2 eye lines? There's the intelligence of a triangulation. So the triangulation of the eye line, screen lines is adaptation settings of flux over 3 lines of track locations, looking down. Now, if I face it this way in line direct signals, we get laser track line communications. Different lines of travel through stealth. Going through cross screens, line adaptation lines of sonar and line position detection. Process in communication high interference, sending lines. So as soon as it goes through, it gets high detection line screen adaptations of process communications. So that's when the XT1000s and platforms come in, right? So that's lines communication setting, protecting their territory and traction, right? Set position line scan. What are you doing here? You're not allowed to be here, right? So the process communication comes in this cycle on track locations. Different formula, different equations of intelligence. See the intelligence? So it's informations of this. Look at the intelligence. An amphibian. See the eye lines, right? This is a trog. Now the trog lines is communication setting, all lines of high core center. Since the brain communication lines are in convergence, it sets lines of circuitry, screen lines of adaptation to processing. It has core lines of calculation setting, in line rotation service, has 24,000 brain stems, directing line signals and modification system all through travel. A trog. Okay. Recognizing screen adaptation and high processing, all lines of platform communications. All right, so everything changes its formations of time. Different levels. Look what we got here. A vessel of communication. 3 cycles and 3 settings. Okay, so everything I do, guys, is the constant continuous flow, right, of just existing. Living intelligence of forever existing. Life, platforms of 2. Life, platforms of 4. Life, platforms and high centers of 4 line position of 6 over travel. Directing communication lines equals lines, E-line rotation, setting course, send location, and pyramid. Doesn't look like much, right? But if you put it together, you can see what it is in tractions. Pyramid. Laser traction settings, then you can set up the triangulations, okay, of other pyramids. So in that position here, here, and here, 3 track locations. Now directing that signals, processing communication setting, processes communication to its arrows of indications to another pyramid interaction through a dimensional door that you go through another door. All right, so process that, open sequence, open panels, open line direct signals, and track location, which is a hallway, which is its grounds in set position, right? So again, in that position locations, you travel through it in the center of operation. Okay? So each time you go through 4 cycles and 4 direct signals. Look at that. Okay? Platitude lines, eye, camera, and direct signals and modifications. Film strip. Okay? Setting core lines of communication setting to its intelligence information lines of grounds and 2 eye sequence and line communication lines of travel. Okay? Change communication lines of grounds, high position location of its platform. Okay? Coming in communication lines of mountains and tractions. Right? So I'm constantly changing formula, which is constantly changing travels of recognition. Time sequence of panels and line direct signals and modification grounds of communication. Okay? So the more you focus on the angles, the more it gets easier in line communications, right? Arrows indication lines of 1. So you get into your descriptions, you get into more levels of view and detail, you get into the imaginations that you are. Not the imaginations you're looking through. You're not looking through things, you are things. So what you understand when you're in that position locations, for example, okay, you're looking at a board, right? Just the board itself. Okay, this is a board. Okay, there's a board, right? And you're here, right? It's really great too with martial arts. Okay, you're looking at the diameter, you're looking at the metric, you're looking at the scale, you're looking at the balance, right? But this is you, right? Ready to basically break a board, right? But what you understand in that position, he's already broken the board. So he's already gone through, he's penetrated through already. And 3 lines of sequence and lines of communication, lines of travel, right? So it's already gone through 3 boards in set position. It's already gone through 4 or 5 or 6 in volume, right? So basically it's already here through pi. So what you guys have to truly understand, I know these things because I did that too, breaking boards with my feet, breaking boards with my hand, and also slabs, concrete slabs. So it's all in the mind. It's what you know in the mind itself, but it's everything in lines of communication setting. It's about how you put yourself in your sectors, vectors, and quads, where you are through your units and your cores, where you put yourself for your metrics, your meters, your scales, your balance, into all levels, into your atmospheres, your highways, and position locations, settings, your planets. Okay? But you have to really start to connect to your system in your 5th elements that you are in traction. Right? Because that's all we are, it's 5th elements. But we have to understand how to use that through the earth, through the air, through its remembering cycle of its travels into our home beacon light. Earth, atmospheres, relays, teleportation, home. I changed it. So it's got a 2 platform and a 4 line signals and 1 system locations. Now, if I do it in this, what do we have in line screen datation? Right? Okay, magnetic highways and travel. Process lines of grounds and earth lines of travel. Inhibitors of a line and direct signals in track cases of docking system, all through track case lines of XT1000 lines of communication lines of travel in set position of center. So the more you have fun with it, the more it understands you, and you understand everything of consciousness that's given to you through attraction. Right? And again, there's intelligence inside. See the eyes? There's always intelligence in frame. There has to be, because it's you against intelligence of you, right? So it's 3, right? So you're looking at three levels of you, right? So the 3 levels of you come into the platforms of the past, present, and its future. Yes, people. Face recognition here, here, and 3 tractions. Now, once you understand that, then you understand the platforms of communication lines of travel in set position. Okay? Through the track location lines, high set position location to its airplane and traction. Okay? That's right, Captain. See, the actual face is here. in position of the tail, in position of the wings, in position of the propeller, and location setting. All right. So if I turn it this way, what do we have in track locations now? Right? 3 course centers, line direct signals to 6 over lines of modification. Right? So what I'm saying is knowing exactly what I'm saying. So I'm not drawing, I'm traveling. The mind of travel. Now, if I add the intent, you'll see this. This will affect your realities in set position because I did it through the intelligence of the mind system. So once you guys get into more levels of the mind and understand the process of communication system, then you just basically focus on yourself, me, myself, and I. When I get up, when I do this, when I do that, I go here, I go here, I go here, and now I'm at work. That's a map. There's no difference, right? But what you understand is you're here in that position. So everything that comes in settings, you're already here in attraction. Right? So you don't need to go here, 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 or here, because you're already there in set position. Right? So the more you get out of the clock is at 12, the more you get out of 12 lines at 24, which is constellation, which is your line position, how you use that, comes into the hemispheres, stratospheres, brainiospheres, hemispheres, atmospheres. All right? All 3 track locations. But you have a 24 cycle, you go through flux in 3 cycles in set position. Right? So it sets lines of clock in 1, 2, and 3, and 6 locations. Right? Now you can set that at any lines of communication system because you're in levels of space now. So there's clocking or there's no clocking. There's time or there's no time. So I'm trying to get you guys to understand how to use that in all lines of communication system and travel. How to recognize these things and how you perceive it through constellation system, all through the constellations. You know, the oscillation path, the wind path, the track communication path, X3000 comes in platform. Remember, in that position, this has already been drawn, right? So it's not intent, is it? It's just observation for you to remember, which you already know. So for me to add intent, this changes the direct centers of frame of communication. Because it's no longer this in recognition. It's now this in setting. Okay, it's now that in setting. So what you're doing is you're just constantly changing yourself, evolving yourself, understanding yourself when it comes in that position of its rope and track location. You're constantly changing everything in modification. That's all you're doing. You're just expanding, nothing else. Okay, so you understand how to live the existence of you, of the intelligence of you forever existing. How you see yourself is how you see yourself, the game that you are, not the game that you're in. It's not an in setting. It's not an out setting. It's not a no setting. It's all levels of who you see yourself. How you get in that position location is how you see yes. Y-E-S. Y, right? Unification of 3 cycles. Oh, it's getting interesting. Now, if I do this, what does it turn in attractions of? A mountain. A mountain. A mountain, right? So it's no longer yes, is it? Yes is now a mountain. So I'm trying to get everybody to understand these things, how you change the Y, how you change the E, how you change the S. Okay? Existing of Z line. It's a formation lines of 2 tractions into position of a mountain line screen. Okay? Now, if I change it this way, what do we have in set position? EZ. Right? Zoning connections in lines of 4 tractions and 5 cycles, line connections, high center location system, all through travel, in mechanism location of force recognition. Okay? What if I do this in tractions? Center operation of me in face recognition. Okay? So you're constantly changing your systems, guys. It's just time existing all at once. So it's not really complicated. You're just complicating yourself because you really don't understand how to identify yourself, how to communicate with yourself and setting it through me, myself, and I. Now, how you see yourself as me is how you see yourself, and how you see yourself as I. If I understand my I, I'm understanding travel. If I'm not understanding I, I'm just staying in travel. So understanding I is from inside to outside of travel, right? Inside, outside, right? But when you're in position of teleportation, you're outside in, not inside out, because you're sending to space. You're not sending to inner spectrum. So it's transmitting out and receiving in. So that's outposting, out command, out center, out traction, outlet. Then you come into high communication screen lines of 3 tractions of 4 lines of 5 divisions. That process communication lines that indicate settings and primers that puts lines of 1 cycles, 1 center, 1 traction, 1 division, 1 locations, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in setting. Process communication ground lines of surface and track location. Okay. Structure line divisions. Process lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line conditions a holographic grid. There's the grid. Now, process communication setting, XT1000 comes in tractions, docking system here in center. In set position. Let's bring it into equation. A lot more easier to see, right? Then we get a platform communication O-line sequence, puts lines of a structure line division location setting of a structure of a building right here in travel communications. 3 line cycles, line position of grounds, powers, and atmospheres in set position. So it gets more fun when you really start to see the holographic structure of you inside of you. Understanding the grids, understanding the platforms, understanding the travels, understanding the direction, understanding the modification setting of 0 correlation system all through travel and make the location setting and position of teleportation. Okay? And if I do this, it's in outline position. Outline coming in, that inline going out, right? Setting lines of communication system, inline and outline rotation. See? You can actually see them going in and not out, right? So it's an optical illusion how you see people walking in or how they're walking out. But in space, it's in or out. It doesn't matter because it's about understanding how to process this through the programs that you are in that track lines communication system. How you use the 4 signals of clockings. Let's get in ground lines of surface and position. Clocking system of 0, clocking systems of 1, clocking system of 3, clocking systems of 4. It doesn't have to be a 12, 24, 48, 72, 144. I decide what clocking it is. I decide what it is to computer. I decide what it is to binary. I decide what it is to transmitting and receiving, what I'm doing through attractions. I'm in control of what I do through drawing. So when I'm drawing something, right, you have to get out what draw is. What is draw? Start with that set position. What is draw? What does that mean to you? Right? What does it mean to you? Because it means something different to everybody else. If you don't get into your own programmers, you're going to have a very hard time understanding how to get in communication in your settings through the me, myself, and I of who I am in attractions, because it's you fighting against yourself. But there's nothing to fight against. You just want to find something to fight against. But every time you get in that position location, you're not understanding myself, I'm not understanding me, and I'm certainly not understanding who I am, which is I. I am this, I am that, I am here, I am there. And that positions all of the you through attractions. Draw. Now, understanding D. Let's break that down. What is D? Let's break down R. Let's break down A and W. What does it mean to me? Direction on 2 panels. Directions on 4 panels. Right? What is R? Relays, a circle location setting, a 0 clocking system. What is A? Atmosphere lines, atom lines, high core centers, line track cases, airplane mode, directing signals into bandwidth over correlation setting attractions. Draw. What does it mean to you? Through its position of its pyramid. Okay? Look at that through tractions. See it on that signal. In line direct signals in track location to a system all through operation. Look how powerful that is in high position location of tractions. See? Everything is different. Everything changes. Everything has to change. Okay? Now, once you understand that, you're changing. There's nothing to change if it's already alternated. There's nothing to do if it's already in position. There's nothing to see if it's already in setting. There's nothing to hear if it's already been heard. There's nothing to do in set position. All you got to get into modification setting is process you and how you see yourself through the rope. This is your life. And so when you expand and you come into more levels of you through exploration, of evolving your system, because that's all you're doing when you get an activation system, you see the other side of the rope. So there's no equal lines of positions of space. That's you in position. It's just a straight line getting from one place to another through pi. That's it. So divots, these are the divots on a ruler, metric, scale, and balance that you get to through tractions. Okay? Now, understanding the platform sets lines of communication. Oh, it's getting interesting. It sets plats and crossing line signals of platform communications. Now, it has a 4-line signal and a 45-line screen adaptations, all of the processing. Set position, location, and tractions, and balance of communication. Okay? Sets lines of communication, lines of balance lines of communication. Okay? Sets communication lines of high side location setting, a balance line communication. All right? Platform C, platform D, platform E, platform F, platform G. Process communication, high ground line communication lines of surface interaction. Look how powerful that is. So you're seeing an XT1000 coming out of a wormhole. Okay? Pretty wild, right? Did I have to draw it out? No, because it's already in setting. So I'm trying to get you guys to understand these things. Everything that you change, you're changing all levels of you in time of existing. So you have to be very careful of that, right? Through the energy line screen adaptations that you are in the body. So once you get in that position locations, you process your communication setting. How to actually see yourself in your space, in your time, through modulations of the cosmos or the galaxies or the universe, of you through expanding. Not expansion, just expanding. So when you come into that, then you understand the length of the rope, where there's no divots in between, a road graph. So this is not what you want to be. This is what you want to be. Okay? It's very simple to see your life, and your life comes into existing, right? So this is understanding where you are in the center. All you're doing is just expanding your platforms out. That's all you're doing. You're not doing anything else. And then you just become bigger in energy. Then you become bigger in energy. Oh my gosh, this is starting to make sense now. But your platforms get bigger in the minds. But you don't leave the center. You stay in the center point of you that controls everything in set position. You stay in the center. So everything comes to you through attraction. Everything comes to you through attraction. Everything comes to you through attraction. That's all it is. Simple. Because you're focusing on me, myself, and I. You're not focusing on this. You're not focusing on that. You're just focusing on you in that position. So understanding the instructions of the games that you're in, then you understand the space and modification system that you're in, and all communications setting and travel that you're in becomes all levels that you are. Coming in inner out circuit or outlets comes into line position. In, out, audio. Okay? In, out, audio. Right? In, out. All right, so we got in, we got out. We got that, right? In, out, right? But this, when you get in position, you're setting the signals, which is out and in. So in that position, clocks the system from inside, right? So you have to understand the spectrum of its platforms, a 3-track location setting and operation. Setting lines of communication lines comes into its Y screen adaptation of its flux. Okay? Look at the intelligence side. See the eyes? That's the intelligence. Right there. All through graph, all through metric, all through scale, all through balance. That's the intelligence in that position. Okay? Now, in the attractions, let's get a course centers, lines of calculation setting, and spectrum over weaving, code activation, line screen adaptations of surface attractions. There's the intelligence. Now you really see it. Okay? Now, that is a Cylon. That's a Cylon. All right? Because I say it's a Cylon. I'm in control. Because if I'm not in control, it will show its intelligence of its control in you. Because you didn't see yourself of who you are. What you get in position of is how you govern things and how you see yourself as you. Not how you see everything else, because they already know who they are in track lines. They don't need help. You need help to understand you. And everything around you comes to you in position of balance. Your metric, your scales, and your balance, your highways in that position. Getting all communication in your atmospheres, getting all line communication out of your modems and Wi-Fi's, your satellites, and your towers, all through communication of its intelligence, affirmation and setting, right? Building that collaboration system, right? So get that outline, output, out measure, out scale, out communication, outer space, right? So basically everything has to be in a transistor. Transistors going out and receiving in. So transistors going out and receiving in. Okay? So that's coming from its planet interaction. Okay? So that's communication lines, a 3-track line communication system, right? So you're processing your system that's coming in all lines of high position. So you're uplinking, you're downloading, upgrading, and you're downgrading systems all in one sequence. You're coming into the past, present, and future of data. Now this is data files of the past, data files of the present, and data files of the future. Now, when you get into the conceptual system of the cerebral, of the cranial, of the correlation, of the position, of the metric, of the meter, of the scale, of the communication, of the balance, then you come in your electrical system. It modifies all levels of data, formation lines, and grounds. Put your position, your binaries, in location, your algorithms. That process you in the past, the present, and the future that you get through data of intel. Okay, of intel that comes to you in interactions. When you are basically sending a transmitter and receiving, then you come into all levels, your binary, your algorithm, coming into the code configuration system, all through track lines to your system. That's connected to all lines of signals and how you use that in position to your inhibitors, processing that communication system all through tractions, coming into that space modulation system all through communication, all through your planet setting. Okay? So it's the output to the input because you're transmitting out information and you're receiving information in. Okay? But remember, it's inside you. So once you understand the planet itself, the process communication system, and that calculation setting, line conditions high center location system, XD1000 comes in traction. Right? So gets communication high centers, line direct signals into flux, travels at positional location point graphs. So that's communication high positional lines of travels, gets line communication scanning your system and travel. All through traction. Okay? So we have to really understand how this all works in platforms of 2 tractions or 3 lines, position of 3 cycles. Okay? Back force, communication system, all through calculation setting. And track communications with all set position. Okay? Now if I turn it this way, we have a different formula, different equation. Right? So we're no longer in this, are we? We're now in this. And that's what protects us, how we come into our own system of our own face, of our own pattern, of our own recognition time and sequence. Puts it's all communication of existing all at once. Right? Platform here, let's go through 0 lines of 1. Let's try communication center position, all lines of sequence, and line position of pattern. Process calculation ground lines of surface, processing communication lines of travel communication. All right? Let's change it again. Different formula, different equation. You're always going to have different formulas of the equation because you have to understand what it is in tractions, how you come into your E equals MC squared. Platform C, platform D, platform E, platform F. Okay, change it again. Look what we got. Right? So you're constantly evolving. You're getting past that rope. Then you realize you come in this position. This is what is in tractions. Directing lines confusion. There's the rope, right? Directing line signals, crossing line signals, open lines of gap, lines of screen. So it's off measure, off scale, off balance until you get line signals of travel. And once you get into that, you come into this position location to a system all through the grounds, all through surface. Okay, intelligence, right? That's going to core centers, line communication system, all through travel, endpoint lines of communications. There it is, intelligence. So we all have to understand how to use that in all signals location to its lines, right? Remember I told you about all position the metric, okay? The metric system, okay? The 0 correlations, the high position of travel. Bracket communications, high center lines, 0, 0, line position of 1 equals lines of triangulation flux, high position of question, 2 patterns, communication setting, and percentage over screen, directing lines, CPU, calculate amount of phi equals lines home. H position of travel. Okay? Now, if I change it this way, we have different formula, different equation. See? Different algorithm. Okay? Change it this way, different algorithm. Right? So you're getting 4 algorithms in one. Your panel division lines, cores lines assist locations to your weather. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, and 1, 1, 4. Okay, how you use the modification lines of 4 platforms in travel, all through 1. How you synchronize the 2 travels into 3 cycles into 4 settings of 2. Process communication over cross-line communication setting and the line communication in pyramid. See? Unifications, width lines, 7 over sequence, set lines and divots. All right. Process line, laser attractions, cosmos, connection screen line adaptation. Indicates arrows of indication system all through platform interaction. So you're always moving on a 4 line of angle in travel. All right, look at this in position. Okay, you're always moving in high lines of communications, all through settings in your primer, your circuits, your travels, your recognition of platform communications. Now, if I process this lines of screen adaptation setting, you have a graph communication. A lines attractions, X2000 platform. Platform E lines, process 1, 2, 6 lines, 1 center line rotation surface and track communication system. All levels in line rotation surface and track communication setting. All lines that calculate setting your pyramid and traction. Hoo-ah. Then you set up the lasers. Directing lines of grounds in set position. UFO. Look at the UFO. Right? So you tell me how I go from this to a pyramid in position, all lines of signals into a UFO. All right, guys. It's really interesting. Then you come in your data, your processing, your inhibitors, your primers, your central system, your main circuit settings, your modification ground lines. Look at that. Okay, everything is teleportation. Everything is teleportation. Changing grounds, changing surface, changing metrics, changing scales, changing all formation system and travel. Now, if I do this, what do we have in travel communications? Flytrap. Okay, Venus flytrap. See? Lotus. Now, what if I do this in travel? What is this in lines of communication system? Know exactly what you're looking at in all communication, the grounds, and all lines of surface and position. Okay? Through 111, 112, 113, or 114. Triangulation of the lines of 3 platforms of travel. Direct, redirect, 1 signal, 1 off communication system, 1 set position. What do we have again? Set position lines of travel, my pyramid. Set position lines of grounds, communication setting, and track location. Setting symbolism lines of track and interference lines, E factors of our line. Okay? Process communication high center location system, all through track location of what? What do we got positions of in setting? What do we have in track location of setting? Is set position. Can you see it? Through structure, through its design. Okay. Pelican. Okay. Line signals of 3 tractions, all lines of high setting. Right? I signals, setting communication set position. Now, if I change it in this direction, what do we have in high position? What do we have in high position? A stork. Okay, guys? So I'm trying to get you guys to understand how to get your position locations in all lines of direction. Okay? Then you add your clockings, 4 clockings, 5 clockings, 6 clockings, communication, right? Center correlating, setting, high set position, operation, set position of 45 angles. Process communication lines at grounds, process communication lines at high centers, and position location. So you're constantly changing your metric, your scales, and your balance of travel. Okay, look at that. Grounds, pyramid, clouds. You see how powerful it is? Do you see what you guys can do when you just let everything go and just be you? Overcross line condition system. If I bring the waving line screens, the interstellar mode changes communication setting. Now you're seeing more levels of the star coming in position of its cloud, communication setting, position of travels, into ground line communication, and high set interference, and position of travel. Okay, guys? So it's a lot of fun when you just have fun. Stop trying to figure things out. Stop trying to figure out space. Stop trying to figure out time. Stop trying to figure out you. To identify you is to identify who you are, right? In 4 settings. It's not a coincidence that you guys are connected to your N, your E, your W, and your S. Your networks. In position of 4 tractions. You're existing in 4 settings of E factors over screen. Your bandwidth, your work ethic in set position into your systems and setting. Well, what happens when I turn it like this? What do we see in travel? What do we see in travel? Look. Travel. What do we see in travel? Some constantly changing in all levels of direction. It doesn't matter how I do it, because it's always in balance of everything that I do, right? But this is already done. This is for you guys to recognize all information, location, of intelligence inside. See the intelligence? Let's bring it in. There's the intelligence in set position, all through tractions. There's the intelligence inside. Boom. Okay, guys? So you're always working with yourself in that position. Me, myself, and I. Right? So I'm trying to get you guys into 3 platforms. Change 3 platforms into pi. Specters over 3, 3 lines of 6 over 9, 6, 3, 9. Right? Process calculation lines of 3, position lines of 3, and position lines of 6. Okay, very simple to do these things, guys. But if I put it together, we have a teleportation vessel. See? And then you have E tracks and 3 signals of modification. Then you change it in line signals. Look at what it is in line screen adaptation to a system. All 3 set lines of your satellite. See? Your satellite, people. All right? Or changing lines of track centers. Information, location of intelligence. There is again, there's intelligence, right? Let's bring it in. Okay, see the I lines? 6 over line, 9 over 3. There's the intelligence. Set of core lines, set position locations, triangulation lines of flux, process lines of grounds, process lines of signals, process line divisions, process calculation screen lines, adaptation of flux, 45 split lines of an angle, and rotation surface interactions, platform communication, holographic grid. Now, if I bring it up signals, you process communication. Look at this. Look at this. Your Skynet. Okay, so you have to really understand how to use your current events, the all levels of you, and your sensor systems, of perceptions that you are, through your NEWS. Okay, on a 4 waving panel. Okay, guys? And then you start to really understand you through tractions, all through settings. It's very powerful when you come in this positions, guys, because you're constantly on 4 lines of communication. Different lines of calculation setting to travel. Okay, look at that, all through travel. Look how powerful it is. And when you see these, it's all levels of you. You traveling through you. So it's a map of you coming to you. It's a map of you coming back to you. The balance, the awareness, the concentration, the knowledge. Now, when you scratch that out, what you're dealing with is just you. There's nothing to perceive. There's nothing to perceive. It's just you. And everything around you is always in what? Empty space. Empty space. Empty space. Empty space. That's empty space, right? So if you get a force setting, so in that position, you're here, you're here, you're here. You're in 4 different angles. So it doesn't matter how you turn it in that position, location, system. But what you have to understand, now it's coming into numbers of 6, 6. Right? Let's change it again. Line direct signals into modification grounds. Set correlates to high position to what and travel. EE over 0. See how a 6 turns into an E? So you're not turning upside down. You're not turning upside right. Okay, it's a metric meter scale and of a compass in set position locations for a water containment system that's traveling in set position of balance. So it's trying to get in position of balance because there's water in a compass, guys. So now you understand that you are a compass. You have to understand why you have water inside your system, your water containment system, right? So what you're balancing is the arrows of indication system of 4 settings of flux. Flux here, flux here, flux here, flux here. Platform here, compass here. Okay. Getting direct lines of platforms here. Platforms downshift line, cross line condition setting in the highest position of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th position. Now, if I change it like this, what do we have in tractions now? Different lines of communications, right? Sets lines of platform. Setting lines of core system and line communication setting in travel communication. Okay, let's change it again. What do we have in provisionalize the cycle? Panel communication of face recognition and settings lines of 4-track communication. Right, let's change it again. What do we have in platform communication to its setting? All through traction. See? It's so easy to understand how to do this because there's no thinking involved as center operation of you and travel communication. Look at this. Look how powerful that is. Right? Let's bring it in. What do we have in track location system and settings? In a set position. Okay? So I'm constantly changing the flow. I'm constantly changing everything in position. But I'm always in the center operation of me. So you're always dealing with the past, the present of you, which is the future adaptation of you. You're bringing yourself in 4 signals, in 4 settings, into 5 signals, into 6 signals, into 7 signals, into 8 signals all at once. Platform here, clocking here. Platform here, clocking here. Platform here, clocking here. Central here, operation here. Platform in center. Platform in center. Guess what? Platform in center. Guess what? Platform in center. Platform in center. But if I want to see it on a different angle, I change it. If I want to see it on a different angle, I change it. But look really close. Look at the intelligence. Now, if you really want to see the intelligence, I have to bring it into true formations to its setting, all through track locations. There's the intelligence inside its position in track location. There's the intelligence. E.T. von Hum. So it's really interesting when you come into that through balance, right? So that's why you guys are connected to your NEWS, but you have to understand how to use it. But you have to focus on yourself. You have to focus on yourself. You have to focus on yourself. Me, myself, and I. Modifications mind, line conditions, modification grounds, in position I am, and line rotation cycles, and generation screen lines of platform communication lines of balance. Calculate modify in your solar line communication setting, area dimension or solar sail. Process communication lines of the mind, modification of the system, all through travel communication setting of 3 platforms of communication. It disappeared. Traveling too fast. Intelligence. Right? I signals, set position on communication setting and travel. Sets position location system of the settings and track location. All right, now if I change the platform, we have a different line of communication. All right, so it's grounds up, cross line signals, 3 lines of communication. If I change it again, center operation set position to solar sail. Process communication on high position lines of console, communicate high interference to cluster, line direct signals modification, ground line communication to cosmos, and direct signals modification. So I'm constantly existing on different levels of frequencies. And the more you understand that, the more it gets easier through traction. So what you can do, right? All through a 4 waving cycles of setting, right? So you don't have to get into one page. You can put everything on one page and all once. You look at one dimension, you look at all dimensions, all at once. Okay? You're not just seeing this, you're seeing everything involving communication. You're seeing everything in process of data of all communications. You're processing here, here, and here, right? So every time you get something, you're getting outlines of communications of data, right? So that comes from the outline, sets to its planet line, sets specific XT1000 line, scans your system back in traction. But if I do it this way, we have a different formula, different equation of travel, of data. Different directions, different signals in modification, ground settings. Okay? So, it's kind of like, basically, like I said, with the box, you see the box here, you see the box here. Okay, you see the box here, and you see the box here, and you see the box here. You see the box in all different angles, but you're always working with north, east, west, and south. North, east, west, and south, right? Platform ground, platform center, platform atmosphere. Position, 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 Merkaba. All right. Add signals. Now there is no connections to setting to 4 box frames. Process 1, molecule 2, molecule 3, molecule 4, atom 5, atom 7. All right. Directing in modification ground lines of surface and track locations. All right. So it's a constant continuous flow that keeps going like this. So you understand that Fibonacci goes one way and the other Fibonacci goes the other way. That's yin and yang. When they come together in position, it's like a subparticle leaves its system and comes back to center of operation. So it's never left its system. That's the optical illusion that you have to get out of, because it's all of the U information system, how you see it in supposition rotation. Okay. Then you send the platforms of setting, platforms of surface, platform direct signals, and modification. Right? Change it again. Different interpretation. Change it again. Add equation. If you add equation, you got to be careful now, because you're changing the modification system of the grounds. Okay? Change it again. Look at this. Different interpretation. Okay? Change it again. Different modification. Travel. Right? So it doesn't matter in position location, you just know exactly what you're doing in line connection system. The metric, the scales, the balance. The metrics, the scale, the balance. Okay, the metrics of the platform, the scales of position, location, of balance, and both line communication of space and through time. That's the scale. Setting position to the atmospheres and set position. Oh my gosh, it looks like we're coming into intelligence. Then you understand the platforms of the grounds, which is the neck and travel. Intelligence, there it is, boom. So you got the high rise of the sun coming in tractions, sunset, sunrise. Oh, this is getting interesting. Then you come into this position location to its walking platform communication. Right? So the sun is coming out. Woo, woo, woo. But it's all done from inside you. Now, if I change the direct signals in modification grounds, what do we have in position? What do we have in position? Different formula, different platform, different communication setting. Okay? Different platform, different communication line, setting and travel. But I'm adding equations, guys. I'm adding the equations. See? That's the difference. So if I change it again, what do we have in signal? Oh my gosh. Looks like a time reactor. All right. Sonifies its system location and setting electrical lines in diffusion. Processing communication system all through travels. In 4 grounds, it's at position of cosmos. If I change it again, we're in the center communication system all through travel. Whoa! Look at the teleportation in that. That's a star portal, guys. A star portal. Okay? Very powerful stuff. All through time reactor. So when you guys get in your positions, this is what you have to come into modifications of. Circulation, rotation, circulation, rotation, circulate. Everything you're looking at, you're not looking at a cup here. You're looking at the cup all the way around in sequence. All the way around. Circulation, rotations. So understand the cup, and the cup understands you. You can see the files of its data in a 45 line angle. Right? So you're sending it out, coming back. Transistors, right? Receiving. That's how it works. The wave, the central system, and you through tractions. Right? Which is all lines of communication setting, which is the outer circuits of you, through the inner systems of you, and tractions. So more lines of modification of your mind, and the more you come into conception of the mind, then you're sent all levels of the mind itself. Because it doesn't matter what you do in drawing. It doesn't matter what you do in platform. What matters, do you know what you're doing in positions, all levels of your map in sequence of you in the mind system? Process here, process here. It doesn't look like much, right? But it's all together in position. See? So you can't make mistakes in the mind. That's a big one. Because you're all levels of the mind itself. Then you become into the body modifications. Then you come into all levels of operation you. Understanding the operations of you, but understand the body of you is its infrastructure of its own system, of its own mapping sequence. It's you coming to you through a map. X marks the spot. So that puts you in position here, X, here, X, here, X, here, X, here, X, here, X, right? You have to go all through that? Nope. You just go right here in traction. Diversion of clocking, confusion, right? You go right to here in position because all you're doing is focusing on me, myself, and I. And that's it. Okay, you go straight where you need to go because you're already there, right? So hopefully this helped you out and a little bit more understanding how this all works. To truly understand all levels of you in the mind is understanding how to go through the 4 lines of flux into your flux capacitors, time capacitors, system location of travel. That puts all lines of communication system, how you see yourself through attractions. Okay? All right, let's get a direct line of panel unison. We're going to have a travel line communication lines of service. We're going to route the routers and line communication system. Okay, we'll have a conversation setting, travel point lines into conservation. Process communication lines of highest interference, level DEC, see you in 5.